Hey folks, Dana here, back in my incredibly messy shop, thinking about my next project, and I think this might be part of it. That is a chunk of alder. In fact, it's one of the biggest pieces of alder I've ever run across. Alder doesn't grow terribly well, or terribly big here in Maine. Grows really well. The type of alder we have, I think it's green alder, but don't quote me on it. But yeah, usually by the time it gets this size, it's died before this. So, a little bird damage, sapsucker or something. But normally, I would use the branch as the handle. As the shank connector, and then that part is the handle. I'm thinking if I go this way with it, there should be some really amazing grain right in through here. There's that little crotch there, and there's a little crotch here, a little burly bit there. So yeah, I think that might be the next project. Probably going to go for another cardigan. I like cardigans. It's just such a really cool pattern. So I think that's going to be the project. Just gotta figure out a shank. Could go with yellow birch. Got a few pieces of nice maple that will be birdseye. Maybe that will look good. I'll decide. Well, I've got some of the roughing out done. You can see more or less what I'm going for. Shank will join it here and come up around, and that'll be the nose. Wanted to make sure I included some of that grain right in that crotch there, because that's going to look cool. But might have to leave a little bit of that just for the reason that that's what I've got to work with. But yeah, she's coming. Next step probably be drill through there and then cut out that middle part. We're getting there. This stuff cuts so much easier than that apple that I did the other day. Holy cow. But yeah, staying well within the lines. Make sure I have plenty of room to make mistakes. But yeah, she's coming. Well, the shape is coming along nicely. I'm running into some real nice grain. It's a lot lighter wood than I thought it was going to be. That piece before I cut it was fairly heavy, but now it almost weighs nothing. I might end up soaking it in some wood hardener just to make sure she's stiff enough. But yeah, it's coming. Although I'm running into some checking. I don't know if it'll focus. Little cracks that weren't visible. I've marked how high it goes right now, and I'll come back tomorrow, and if it's gone past that, I'll probably have to abandon this one. But we'll see. Well, it's been a couple of days, and the cracks, I should say, haven't gotten any worse. So I guess it's good to go. Well, the shape is definitely coming on along nicely. It's got some really nice grain, nice little bullseye there. Yeah, that's coming along really nice. Some great color in it. But, yeah, it's got a little more. I've got to take a little more out of this bit right here. And then I'm going to take some more out in the corner on both sides. Give it a good feel in the hand. It basically is sort of like the bell on a trombone that's sort of melted, or something that it kind of goes from round and then flares out into that oval is what I'm after. But yeah, she's coming along really nice. Well, that's probably going to stay there. I might run some super glue into it, but it gives it an interesting little natural touch, letting you know it was actually a tree at one point, you know. But yeah, it's coming along good. Well, the shape's coming along really nicely. There's a few more spots I got to smooth out, like just right there. I need to blend in a bit better to the shape. But yeah, it's coming really nice. Hopefully you can see that grain in it. Got some really nice grain. Got to take that down just a little bit more too, I think. But yeah, it's coming. It's getting there. Nice grain right there. But I think I got to take that down a little bit. But yeah, liking that. Well, the handle's looking really good. Really loving that grain. Now the big question is, what do I put on it for a shank? I'm thinking about this. This is what was left over from the Plan B stick, the one that broke on me a while ago. And if I can get this bend out of it right in here, I might go with this. That little bend I can't do anything about because it's got a knot hole there. It's a dog leg, but it bends a bit in here too, which I think I can straighten. Or I could go with a piece of yellow birch. Well, actually, this is yellow birch, but go with a more yellowish yellow birch, more like that color. Or got a few more chunks of birdseye maple I could go with. I have to think about that, I guess. I'm going to take her in, take the handle in, and see if there's any spots I missed. Go over it with the pencil. And I'll be back. Well, I think I'm going to go with this piece of birdseye maple for the handle, for the shank. A lot of lumps and bumps on it, so it should have some really nice figure in it. Had a bit of a curve to it, so I heated it up and straightened it a bit. But yeah, it's looking a lot straighter than it was. So, and some of the curve I can take out with my draw knife for my spoke shave when I'm smoothing it. So now, instead of my usual method of joining the handle and the shank, which would be to carve a peg on here and then drill a hole in this and put it onto it that way, I'm going to drill a small hole in each and use a piece of threaded rod, because I want to try something a little different. I'm going to do a curved joint, sort of like an ogee shaped. I'll draw a line down the center of the stick and carve off a concavity on one side and a convexity on the other side. I did one once and it turned out all right, but not quite as well as I'd hoped. And I'm thinking I can make this turn out a lot better by pouring a resin spacer in between. So that was the tricky part before, was fitting the two curves together. What I did, I had actually taped the handle and the shank together with several wraps of masking tape or something. Yeah, I guess it was painter's tape. And then cut them at the same time with my scroll saw. But of course it didn't hold tightly enough. So I think if I cut each one separately and then pour a resin spacer in between, it'll take up any discrepancies between the two. I'm gonna try it anyways. see what it works. If it looks good, we'll find out. So I've got a hole drilled in the handle and in the shank, and the threaded rod does fit, so I use the right size drill bit. Now I'm just gonna carve a curve into that side, and a convex on the other, if you know what I mean. It'll let's see if I can find my pencil here. Yeah, right there. Okay, say that this is more or less the midpoint. I'll carve down like that in a curve, and then down like that in a curve, so that it's got sort of an ogee shape to it, and then do the same on the shank. At least that's the plan. Yeah, you can see more or less like this. It comes in like that and then goes down. Now I just got to carve that same shape into the shank, and I've left this big, bigger than the shank, so that I can continue to take this down to meet that size. Plus, to pour the resin, I'm probably going to put a little piece of PVC pipe on here and make a glue dam at each end of it, and then just pour the resin down into it. I think that'll work best. That or tape it. I don't know. I could do it with masking tape, I suppose. That would work too, and just punch a hole in the top of it. But yeah, I think that's going to come down just a tad. Yeah, a little bit more, but it's getting there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's fairly symmetrical on each side. It'll come down. I'm going to take a little more off the back side of it, but I'll do that once the resin is poured. That curve's probably about as good as it's going to get. So I'm just going to carve a matching one, or reasonably close to matching one, in the shank, and it'll be there. Well, that's looking pretty close right there. I think I'm going to take out a little bit off those two convex curves, so it'll start out a little wider, get narrower, and then get wider again. I might shorten that piece of threaded rod just a tad. It's easier to cut it too long and have to cut off a little bit more than it is to cut it too short and have to use a different piece. So I think that's going to look good. But that's probably about it for today. It's just barely above freezing here. It's like, I think they said it was the high for the day was this morning, and that was in the low 40s, high 30s. and it's getting colder as the day goes on. So I think that's about it for now. I'll be back. Well, it's been a couple days. I got the handle epoxied into place on the threaded rod. Downside, she developed a couple of really nasty cracks, which I have no idea why. Thing's been drying for like a good 3, maybe 4 years. Must just been tension in the wood or something. But I'm thinking I can run some thin super glue into it and rub a little fine sawdust in it. It should be fine. So that's basically what the gap is going to look like. Start out wide, then go narrow, and then widen out again. I think that should look pretty cool. Well, I've got 25-30 mil of resin mixed up, kind of a reddish color. I think that'll look good with the stick. I went with the duct tape plan. I couldn't really find a little bottle that would work, so I did several rounds of duct tape. The handyman's secret weapon. Bonus points if you get the reference. And cut a hole in it to pour into. Hopefully. It's kind of hard to line it up. I'm looking through the view from the screen here, but hopefully that should flow right down into the entire crack. Spacer area. I think I got way too much again, but that's alright. Give that a minute to settle down, and I'll see if it needs a little more. But yeah, I think that's going to look cool. And once the resin is set, then I'll strip the bark down on the shank with my spoke shave to reveal the birdseye pattern on the stick. Maybe just a tiny bit more. Better have too much that I can. Oops, I guess that's plenty. Yeah, that'll dribble until it's gone. But yeah, that'll work, I think. But yeah, so far this is turning out pretty cool. Really liking the grain in that handle. There was another crack developed right in this area over here. I'm assuming it's just the stresses in the wood being released by it being cut, because the thing had to be bone dry. It's been sitting in the garage or here in the shop for a good 3 or 4 years anyways. So I'll let that dry up. Hopefully it'll set. It's been up and down temperature wise here lately. The other day it was unseasonably cold. It was like less than 20 degrees Fahrenheit when I got up one morning, and high for the day I think was like just below freezing. And then yesterday and today it's unseasonably warm. So oh well, we'll come back and check it tomorrow. Well, this was a bit of a disaster. I peeled the duct tape off, and it had kind of leaked into soaked into the shank, the handle some, and some had dribbled out the bottom. So what I did, I took the leftovers that were still in the cup here, heated them up with the hot air gun, got them soft so it would just melt down into the hole. That's after I put some new duct tape on, and just kind of held the hot air gun on it until it kind of oozed its way down into the gap. So I'm gonna leave that for a few days probably. I figured it would have had time to cool, but I mean to solidify, but I guess not. This might be a summertime only project from now on, the resin thing. So, but on the upside, I can stop peeling the shank with my spoke shave. So we'll come back at some point. Well, it's been a week or better, and hopefully that is cured. It still feels a little gummy in places, but seems a lot solider than it was. So I'm going to put her on the belt sander and get that duct tape off of there and see if it's cured up. So let's see. Well, except for a couple of tiny holes, it looks pretty good. Got that nice shape I was looking for. So I got a couple pieces that I broke off before I put it on the belt sander, and I'll take the hot air gun and just try to melt some into those holes, and hopefully that'll patch it. Well, I got a little bit more gobbed in there and put a little bit of CA glue in it too, just in case. So while that dries, I'll probably just start shaving the shank some more with my spoke shave. Well, that is looking really sweet. I'm really happy with that. It's pretty much exactly as I'd pictured it. I'm going to take it inside. I did take the handle down some, this area here, so I'm going to go over it with a pencil again and find any areas that need improvement. And it was a bit of a thick area right here, so I've been taking that down with a rasp so that it more matches the diameter further down. But yeah, she's coming along nice. Hopefully, if the weather holds out, I'll have this one done by the end of the week. It was a little nippy yesterday. I think the high for the day was low 20s Fahrenheit, and we've had a bit of snow. So, oh well. Well, she's had her first coat of polyurethane, and that is looking nice. That grain in that is really amazing. Got a lot of end grain, so it's going to take a couple of coats probably. But that spacer looks really sweet. That birdseye maple. Unfortunately, it's kind of a gray, drippy day here, so it's not really showing the grain to its best. But yeah, that looks good. I'm really happy with that. So anyways, if you liked the video, go ahead and give her a thumbs up. If you didn't, give her a thumbs down. That's okay. Leave a message, or, I mean a comment. I read them all, of course, and respond to them all if I can understand what you're talking about. So, I guess that's it for this one. I'll catch you next time.